I think I've watched Newcastle over the past few games, and I think this is a really big win for them because looking at them in the league, they don't seem to be in the best position, and they deserve to win this. You watch some games and you'd be like, you know what, Newcastle maybe didn't deserve to win, especially how they've been playing so far this season. This is their second win in 5 games. And they've come up against pretty winnable sides. They've come up against Brentford, 3-1 loss against them. West Ham, they lost against them. And Brighton of Albion. So, to be honest, this is a massive win for Newcastle at the moment because looking at their form, looking at how they're supposed to be playing, they're not reaching that level in terms of quality of players. And I think today, the quality of players shown. Bruno Guimarães, Malick Thiaw. I think Malick Thiaw is a splendid center back for Newcastle at the moment. Very, very good. Love the way he plays. Love his confidence on the ball. I think he had one opportunity where he was one-on-one with Erling Haaland and had to go in for the tackle, and he was very, very confident. I like him. He's a very, typical Italian defender. He's very calm and composed on the ball, and I like how he defends. I think he's going to be a very big player for Newcastle. And when Newcastle do make signings, not all of their signings have been successful, but when they do make signings, they do tend to be successful. Bruno Guimarães, Tonali, Malick Thiaw now, Volta looks very good today, although he did play some of his chances right in front of the team and all of that, but right in front of Donnarumma and all of that. But I really do think that it was a good performance for Newcastle today, and it was a win that I think they really, really did deserve. It was a win where I think if they didn't get, they would have felt very hard done by, because in the first half, they had 2-3 chances where Volta probably should have hit them, to score the goal, but they were very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? They were not directed in the right place. They were very, very just all over the place, and it wasn't the best for them. So I really do think this is a win for Newcastle where they can look back and, they have Everton coming up next. If they can go there and get 3 points, they can start building up because, again, as I said, the quality of players that Newcastle have, they probably should have been winning this game regardless, or getting something in this game regardless. I want to talk about Manchester City. I want to try and make this match reaction as quickly as I can because I'm going on to the Napoli versus Atalanta game because I have to be streaming and all of that. Manchester City, I don't think are ready for a title race at the moment. That win against Liverpool, people were thinking, this might be a chance for Manchester City to really mount a title race and stuff like that. But I look at it and I see the way they played in this game. It's not it. It's really, really not it. And I don't think it's something where, you look at their performances and you think, maybe they can build on it. I think they still got levels to go up. They've still got some levels to go up and make something of themselves. I think the approach to this game was not, they didn't have a lot of chances. Looking at the stats, they did not have that many chances. And I think it was a game where Pep Guardiola will look at it and think, they had some opportunities where they could have done something, but it wasn't until the closing stages of the game where they had some better chances. But even with that, they didn't really test Nick Pope to the best of his abilities. I'm going to be real with you. I don't think they did test Nick Pope to the best of his abilities. I think this is something where you look at and it's a bump in the road. And if you're trying to catch Arsenal at the moment, who don't look stoppable, they really look unstoppable, Arsenal. And if you're looking to catch them at the moment, you need to be able to go 2, 3, 4, 5 games, without looking like a team that can be beaten. And as I said, if Volta was able to place his shots in better positions, this was probably going to be a 3-1 win to Newcastle, or a 4-1 win. They could have scored more, Newcastle. So again, I think these are the games Manchester City should be getting results out of if they want to go up against Arsenal this season in the league. Malick Thiaw, as I said earlier, played a big role for Newcastle. I think his defensive presence really solidified Newcastle's defense and, made the whole team balanced and confident because, again, although Manchester City didn't have too many chances, the little chances they did have were quality chances. but the presence of Malick Thiaw made those chances not as dangerous as it probably would have been if it wasn't a competent center back. And I think, as I said earlier, Newcastle signings, although there are not many and not all of them have been successful, the few ones that have been successful have been very successful. And I think Malick Thiaw is definitely going to fall in that bracket of a Bruno Guimarães, Sandro Tonali, Volta. I think Volta has been a success, but yeah, I think Malick Thiaw is definitely going to be in that category, and they're going to slowly start building, Newcastle in terms of gaining momentum. Visa is still on the injury bench, injury table. Is it called the injury table? Injury table, whatever it's called. But yeah, Visa is still injured, and he's a player who definitely they would want to have coming back from injury, because I think his quality is undeniable and he's going to be able to add some quality to the team. So definitely I think Newcastle have some more levels to go up again. And as I said, they've got some pretty decent games coming up. They've got Everton coming up, Marseille in the Champions League. So some winnable games. Everton, Tottenham might be difficult, but Burnley, Sunderland, Fulham, those are games they can get some points in and start building themselves back to go into the top 5, top 6 Europa League spots in the Prem, because it's up for grabs at the moment. It really is up for grabs, with teams like Liverpool not playing all that well, Manchester City not playing all that well. Manchester United, they do play well, but inconsistency, we all know what Manchester United are like. So definitely I think if Newcastle are able to go up a few more levels, they definitely have a stake to one of these European spots, which they definitely need to do, because Newcastle, as I said, as have been said by a lot of people, they have the money, but they're not able to really pump in that money because of FFP. They need to generate income and, supplement that income with the money that they do have. So they can't just, go around and spend the money that they have, because they have money, but they can't really put that money into the club, because they need to be able to generate income and then, pump the money into the club by generating the income and winning trophies like they did last season, consistently qualifying for European competitions. If they can't do that this season, it's going to help them, staying in the Champions League, qualifying for the round of 16. If they can stay in the Champions League this season, qualify for the round of 16, maybe get a Europa League next season, go into maybe the semifinals or the finals, get Champions League again the following season. Consistently being in Europe gets you more quality players. And as I said, they've got some quality players in terms of signings. They've been able to get some quality players. So if they can keep that scouting network going on and keep on getting these quality players, I think Newcastle in the next 2-3 years, we could see them, competing for top 4 consistently. You never know. They could go for the title. But yeah, I think it's a massive result for Newcastle. But the problem is you have to build from this. You can't just get this result and not build from it. You have to get this result and build from it. That's definitely what the issue is going to be for Newcastle. As for Manchester City, I don't think they have too many problems. I think the goal this season would probably be to win an FA Cup or Carabao Cup, just to have a trophy. I don't think they'll be aiming to win the Premier League this season. They would like to win it, but I don't think they would be aiming to win the Premier League this season at all, because looking at how Arsenal are looking, I don't think there's really anyone else going to compete for the title unless Chelsea. And, Chelsea are always that hidden underdog, unaccounted for type of team. And you never know what they can do. You never really know what a Chelsea can do. So it's going to be interesting. It really is. But I don't think Manchester City are ready to really fight for the title or go for the title this season. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. Let me know what you guys think about the match, Newcastle, Manchester City. Let me know what you guys think about them in the comment section below. As usual, any feedback from you guys would be greatly